Do you feel like that little voice inside your head just will not shut up? You know, the one, the mean one, the one that's like beating you up over what you did yesterday or what you said, or like replaying that conversation in your head over and over and over. The one that's telling you you're going to fail in life, in your relationship, dating, that no one's ever going to love you because you're too fat or too ugly or too blonde or too whatever. Right? You know, that nasty, mean voice, the one that you cannot shut up. Why? Why is it so hard to stop negative self-talk? You know it's not serving you. You know it's not helping you. Why can't you stop it? That's what I'm going to tell you today. There are two reasons that you're having so much trouble getting that voice under control. And you're actually probably doing exactly the wrong things to try to conquer it and shut it up. It's actually a little bit surprising. You have to do some kind of funky, out of the box things to actually stop negative self-talk. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. Why it's so hard to stop and what you actually should be doing if you want that little voice to quiet down. For those of you who are new here, I'm Rachel Sloan. And even for those of you who have been watching my channel, I want to share I'm making a little bit of a shift. Up until now, I've been doing a lot of content for women who love depressed partners. I love that content. I think it's so relevant, but I have been getting requests from people who don't have depressed partners, but who like this work and who like what I'm sharing. So I'm making a little shift to try to make this work more accessible to more people, especially right now with the coronavirus and the pandemic and our global response to it. There's just so many people who are feeling incredible amounts of anxiety and feeling like their lives are really out of control. So you'll notice a few changes on my channel. I'm rebranding into Tame Your Brain, which is a new one-on-one coaching program I'm offering that is all about taking control of your emotions, stopping your anxiety so that you can confidently take control of your life. Because I think right now so many people are just feeling like they don't have choices and they're not in charge and everything is kind of blowing up around them. So those of you with depressed partners who've liked those videos, don't worry, this work is still super relevant to you. And those relationship challenges, those specific ones, are absolutely something we can work on one-on-one within Tame Your Brain. Going forward, we are going to be shifting the focus just a little bit to make it a little more accessible for more folks. So let's get back to negative self-talk. What is going on? Like, you know it's bad for you, right? You've probably done a little mindfulness stuff. Like, you know this isn't serving you. So why can't you shut that voice up? There are two reasons. One is that you're probably resisting it, right? When you notice the cycle of thought, you're like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't think like this, right? There's like another layer of negative self-talk on the negative self-talk. And you're like fighting it and you're trying to silence it and you're like, well, I'm gonna think about something else and da-da-da-da-da. Doesn't work, right? It's the same as when you try to resist anxiety or anger or any other emotion. When you say, no, I don't want to experience this, your brain is like, no, but this is important for whatever reason, right? And the reason your negative self-talk is important is because the part of you that's being mean to yourself has a positive intention. It wants something good for you. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. It's a part that it wants you to be successful. It wants you to find true love. It wants you to be happy. And it thinks that it needs to make you perfect for you to achieve that. And to make you perfect, it's learned somewhere along the way to beat you up and try to like berate you into doing better. But it wants something good. So when you're like, no, shut up, I don't want to talk this way to myself, this is painful and horrible, it's like, yeah, but this is a really important goal. And so it doesn't let up. So the resisting actually makes it worse because that part of you that wants something good but is going about it in this kind of backwards way really thinks that goal is important. So when you resist it, it's like, hey, no, this is important. I gotta crank up the volume. I gotta keep this going and drive you to this goal. So resisting makes it harder to stop the negative self-talk. Even though you want to fight it, you're making it worse when you try to resist it. That's the first reason it's so hard to stop this negative self-talk. The second reason is that it's a comfortable place for your brain to be. And I know that sounds strange, but it's true. Sometimes your brain kind of likes being in this negative, kind of self-abusive place. Like it feels kind of good. It's like weirdly satisfying, right? sure most of you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's like when you get into a really rotten mood and like you want to feel better, but part of you just like wants to keep feeling bad. It like feels kind of good and kind of righteous somehow. It's like, yes, I am a piece of crap. I am never going to succeed, and it's just true. It's just how it is. And that feeling of like kind of wanting to be there is just because you've practiced this type of thinking so much. Your brain has all kinds of neural pathways in it. And the more that you use a certain neural circuit, like the easier it becomes for your thoughts to take that path. Like those neurons fire more easily the more they fire. So you've got this like whole little train of neurons, and you've made like, it's like driving on the same path over and over and over again. Eventually it gets like super well worn, and it's way easier to like ride your bike down that path than it is to like ride off the path into the woods or through the grass or whatever. Right? You've paved that road of negative self-talk in your brain, so it's an easy route to take. And getting off of it and going somewhere else is hard because you haven't paved a new road yet. You've got to like cut down the trees and like make a new road from scratch. So it's actually kind of comfortable, and it feels good and safe in a weird, uncomfortable way to be in that negative self-talk, right? It's hurtful and it makes you feel ashamed and all these negative, anxious emotions, but it's also kind of safe because it's a well-worn path. It's a well-traveled road. Your brain and your thoughts just kind of automatically want to take that. And to shift away is hard. It feels uncomfortable. It feels awkward. It feels a little bit dangerous. Your brain really, really, really likes things to be familiar and to be safe, because when our ancestors evolved in a very different world than we live in now, there were all kinds of things threatening to kill them at like every turn. So safe and familiar, even if it's like kind of awful there, right? Even if there's shame and anxiety and like low level guilt and stuff hanging out there, that's better than like dangerous unknown, right? So it's a little bit comfortable because it's kind of safe and familiar. So that's why you're struggling to stop the negative self-talk, because you're resisting it, which is making it louder, and it's actually kind of comfortable, and part of you kind of wants to stay there. So what do you do? How do you change it? There are a lot of ways, and frankly, it's beyond the scope of one YouTube video to solve your negative self-talk. So I did create a 5-day training that you can do. It will walk you through step by step how to really put the brakes on your negative self-talk. Like if you want to eliminate it for good, this is the training you need. What we do is we really get in and explore where the negative self-talk is coming from. And we get to know your personal style of negative self-talk. How are you beating yourself up? How are you talking to yourself? What does that part of you look like and sound like and feel like? Where did it come from? Where's the history? And then this is the crazy part, but it's like my favorite part of this training. Instead of fighting with that part or trying to shut it up, we befriend it. Remember I said that part wants something good for you? We go in and there's this great exercise we can do to figure out what that positive intention is, what that part wants for you that is so good and so important that it's like riding you, right? That it's like being so mean to try to get you there. We find out what that part is, or what that intention is, and then we work with that part. Like we find some common ground, right? Because it usually wants something beautiful for you and something that you want for yourself too. So you can find this common ground, befriend that part, and then actually kind of like bring it on board with like finding other answers and other solutions. So that's what we do on day 3 of that training, and it's like my favorite exercise ever. It's really cool. And then after that, I teach you some tools to allow space to feel the emotions that you're feeling, even when they seem illogical or not useful or not serving you, even when you don't know why you feel like crying or feeling anxious, making space for those emotions. And there's a great exercise to practice self-compassion and compassion for others, incidentally, that will really put the brakes on your negative self-talk. And finally, on day 5, we get to a point where you have done so much work and you have such a deep understanding of where your negative self-talk is coming from and like how to combat it, that we actually sign a contract. Like we'll actually sign an agreement with yourself about how you're going to talk to yourself going forward. And there's this great little experiment we can do for a week at a time. You kind of make a pact with the part of you that wants something good but goes about it by being really mean. It's kind of a pact to stop being mean to yourself. And it opens up some really amazing possibilities. So that is the work of stopping negative self-talk. There's a couple parts. There's holding space to allow your emotions, even when they don't make sense, to be okay with having a human brain and feeling human feelings, not judging yourself for that. That's one step. Cultivating self-compassion, really like learning to love yourself where you are now. And 3, like getting in there with the history of that part that wants to judge you, that voice that talks to you. And instead of fighting it, instead of resisting it, making it your friend, connecting with it, finding common ground with that part of yourself so that you can go forward in a totally different way. That's what this training is. It's 5 days, 5 videos, 5 worksheets. It is $39. And I'm going to tell you why I'm charging $39 for it, because obviously I'm not making money on this course, right? $39, not a lot of money. This course is worth a lot more than that. But there's 2 reasons I'm charging that. One is actually for you, because I give away a lot of free content, right? Like I give away tools on coping with anxiety. You can go to my website and figure out how to process emotions in your body. I have a whole mini training on how to stop taking your partner's depression personally. All free trainings, all available to you. But something happens when you invest in yourself, even if it's a little amount, even if it's $39, right? When you spend money on yourself, you shift something in your own internal relationship, because so much of our anxiety is about a lack of self-worth and self-value. And so part of overcoming it is to build a new relationship with yourself, to prove to yourself that you are worthy, that you are important, that you are valuable. And spending some money on yourself, investing in yourself and your own well-being is an incredible way to send that message to your brain and say, yeah, I do value myself. It's the first step in like creating that shift. Just that action of paying for something for yourself to help yourself feel better does start to make that shift all on its own. It's kind of cool. So that's the first reason that I'm charging $39 for this training, which again, super cheap, guys. There is no reason not to do this. It is powerful stuff. Part of it is to help you make that investment, give you an opportunity to make some investment in your own well-being. And 2, it does also help me fund the ads that bring traffic through my free content. So I can make that content available to more people using ads on Quora and on Facebook, and the $39 helps me keep those ads going without having a big investment out of my coaching program. So those are the facts on the course, what it is, and why I charge $39 for it. So please join me, you guys. 5 days. If you commit to this, it will transform the way you talk to yourself. And if you stop being mean to yourself, the world changes. Like, what could you do if you knew you weren't going to be mean to yourself tomorrow? What would you try? What possibilities would open up for you? It is such powerful work. So please join me. Links in the description below. And I look forward to seeing you back here. We're going to have lots more videos. We're going to talk about anxiety and COVID and the pandemic and all of the things that are stressing you out right now and making you feel like your life is out of control. I'm going to give you lots of tools to help you take control of your emotions, get confident, and go out and take control of your life. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon.